Hello class, this is Dr. J here. I want to take you through real quick and show you how to do Laboratory 3.3. So you can see here that I've went ahead and I've opened it up, but I want you to make a note that again this is in the HTML format, or this is in the web base, because we can see it up here in the tab. And I always want to make sure that I save this first and then reopen it as a PDF. So I'll go ahead and do that. I've already done this ahead of time. All right, so you should have something that looks like this. It's in your PDF format. So I'll go ahead and I'll put my name in here. And I'll put the date in. Don't worry about the section or the instructor. It's obvious when you attach this in MyGraceland who it's for. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our heart rate. So let's just pretend that I've already done this. We're going to get our resting heart rate, which is important. This is how we're going to be able to calculate our target heart rate. So let's just pretend that over a 15-second period I had 20 beats that I calculated. And just for good measure, we'll say that I got that on the radial pulse as well. All I got to do is hit the calculate button and it does the math for me. So I'll go ahead and I'll plug these in. And then let's just say I did this for a complete minute. I wasn't actually at 80. I was actually more around 75. Now I could take the time again and we'll work through with a partner and we would do all of these, but for time's sake I'm going to go ahead and skip on down here to how we do the calculations. Well, so for the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out what my heart rate max is. So I can go in, I'll pull up my calculator here, and I've got 0.67. I'm going to take that times my age, so I'm 37, and there I've got a number. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round this off to the tens instead of taking it out to the hundreds. So I'm roughly 24.8. Right. So if I look over here, I have my 206. So I'm going to say 206.9 minus, my number was 24, rounded to 0.8. So there we are. 182 is my max heart rate. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here to my heart. We're going to start calculating my heart rate reserve. So I can see right here, heart rate reserve is heart rate max minus my resting heart rate. So my heart rate max was 182. Okay, 0.1. Oh, we're gonna round it to the whole number. So 182 minus my resting heart rate, and all I have to do is come back up here. And the best one is actually my 60-second. Right, but if you didn't do the 60-second, then we can certainly take it here. But that's my closest. So let's just say my resting heart rate was at 75. So I subtract 75 from that. Again, you can utilize your calculator to make sure your math is correct. But we'll subtract 75, or whatever your appropriate resting heart rate was. So 75 was my estimated. So my heart reserve is going to be at 107. So now I have to calculate 50% of my heart rate reserve and 85% of my heart rate reserve. And what I want you to notice here is that there is an error. This shouldn't be 0.5 at the upper end. It actually should be 0.85 as indicated in the sentence here on step 3. So here's my heart rate reserve, 107. Pull my calculator up again, so I'm at 107. Take that times 0.5. I'm at 53.5. So I can plug that in here. Right, let me come back here and I'll go back again. So I've got target heart rate on the upper end. Remember, typo here, so 0.85 times my heart rate reserve. So let's go back to 107. Take that times 0.85. And I'm at 90.9. Again, if I round that up, it would take me up to the whole number, and so let's just say I'm at 91. So I'm at 53.5 at the lower end and 91 at the upper end, and this is my heart rate reserve. I'm going to go on to step 4 here. I'm going to add my resting heart rate back in. So I can go 53.5, add back in my resting heart rate. So that was plus 75, 128.5. Okay, let's go ahead and add my resting heart rate back in to my 0.85. And again, here's 0.85, was at 91. And that should be fairly simple math. So 75 plus 91. Right here, 75 plus 91. If I can type here, 166. Okay, and if you want to see that here, I can go 91 plus 75, resting heart rate again, 166. So my target heart range would be right here, 128.5 or 129, it's close enough, to 166. So this would be how we complete this lab. We find our resting heart rate. We must first find our max heart rate, which is our age times 0.67, and then take 206.9 minus that number. Then in step 2, we calculate our heart rate reserve, 182 minus 75, and that's going to equal 107 for myself. And then through there, I calculate my heart rate reserve, 50 to 85. Again, remember the typo here in step 3, this should be 0.85. And why is this important? Well, this is important because in this formula, what it allows for in that heart rate reserve is to determine just how fit you are. So if your resting heart rate is lower, obviously this number is going to be larger. So because your heart rate max would be here, and then if this number was lower, that difference between the two would be larger, so this number would be larger. And then what that allows it to do is it takes into account that training effect, so that in order to hit that target heart rate, obviously if you're more conditioned, that number isn't going to be quite as hard, or it isn't going to be quite as high, because it takes quite a bit more for you to get your heart rate up to that zone. So that's where that heart rate reserve comes in and why it's beneficial. So hopefully this should help you with calculating or doing the math on this lab. And if you have any more questions, you know how to get a hold of me. You can email me on my Graceland email account, and I will see you all in class again.